Okay, hello subscribers and non-subscribers, and welcome back to Let's Play. Forgot to go and actually need the preview window. As I was saying, welcome back to Let's Play Stellaris MegaCorp. So sorry there was no stream this past weekend or the weekend before. I was busy with homework for one of my college classes. Hopefully it won't be too much of an issue, but it might be. It's not necessarily hard homework, it's a case of it's time consuming. But nonetheless, that's that. Let's go ahead and hop into the game. So last part we had a definitely very easy fight against the Syndicate and its allies, or at least as our propaganda would say. Realistically speaking, it was effectively a Pyrrhic victory. We didn't really trounce them as we had hoped. Just barely managing to take 3 systems from the Syndicate themselves, taking nothing at all from the Unity. Wonderful food processing facilities, even more food, because you can never have too much. Don't want to go for the extra physics. I mean, is crime and amenities an actual problem for us? Not really. I think we can wait a little bit to get the artificial moral code, so let's go for xenobiology, because they're going to take basically the same amount of time no matter what. We do have an unemployed worker, apparently. But this can be corrected by getting ourselves a research institute. Because it'll give us a science director job, and somebody will get moved up to fill that slot, and then this worker will move to fill some other slot. Although I do need to find some places for 2 more humans in a little bit. And the Orlan Memorial Caravan has entered orbit of Gralsk for what would have been a brief courtesy visit today. A spontaneous outbreak of goodwill turned into a combination of open-air market and party. Many bonds between humans and Vengral were forged, and much trading took place, and so we get a free 1,000 energy credits. Wonderful. It's always useful. You can always use more energy credits. We are now not as powerful as I would like. We are not producing enough exotic gases for that to really be worth it. Do we need... Let's check that. Do I need better reactors right now? The answer to that question is a resounding no. Nor do I need the improved reactor booster. We're not even using the tier 1 versions right now anyway. Do I want cloud lightning? Well, compared to the advanced research complexes that we wouldn't be able to build for quite a while, it has the potential to be more useful, but I'm inclined to just say screw it and go for the advanced research complexes, mostly because the cloud lightning will always be there as an option whenever we feel as though it's worth it. So we do need to go ahead and try and quickly rebuild our military. It's important that we are at the top of the food chain. When it comes to military strength. We are producing a hefty amount of energy credits, so that's gonna help us.
Ships upgraded.
Oh hell, we even only recently researched research complexes, so the game's like, hey, you want to go and get the tier 3 version of a research lab? You can't afford it. Well, actually, technically I could afford it for one. Because it was an upkeep of 2, I'm already paying an upkeep of 1 for a research complex. Upgrading this to an advanced research complex would be only an additional cost of 1 exotic gas, so for a total of 2, so technically I could afford it. But no thanks. I could upgrade this one, which isn't necessarily a bad idea because I do have 2 miners that are going to be unemployed eventually. Although I do also have growing human pops that I don't have anywhere to place them because I can't build any more districts for jobs, and so I'm forced to rely entirely upon buildings right now for jobs on Earth. Yeah, that's a couple of Corvettes. Our Corvettes are expensive. Although, I guess technically they've always been fairly expensive ever since the release of MegaCorp when they introduced alloys. If I didn't have to use, if I was able to just use standard minerals to pay for ships still, yeah, these things would be dirt cheap. But alloys definitely, since they're now a produced resource that you use to build your ships, it's a lot more valuable compared to the way it used to be. Of course, granted, you do eventually reach a point where you don't have any problems with alloys. In my test game that I can no longer play because it crashes as soon as I load it. Used to be that way.
Construction finalized.
I was able to just produce so many alloys, I could not spend them fast enough. Now this isn't a terrible place to go to. It does have moat harvesting traps, which are good, because I could stand to get some more of those. And it is a nice size 22 world, so it's fairly decent. It does, however, have a thing for being a very good agricultural planet, although I could choose to make it a mining. It's not as good in terms of district numbers, but it's only a single district. I might actually want to colonize this. It might be worth it. Besides another world, and I'm going to need a place to build some more civilian industries. Because we're still running around with tier 1 civilian industries. We haven't gone tier 2. Are we researching it right now? Or nope. We are currently researching cheaper cruisers. Which, I mean, it's useful. But I could also stand to have better consumer goods. And we get a crossbreed on Grolsk. So now we have a half-human. Of course, technically we actually get 3. Okay, we get 3 half-humans. They are communal, talented, and charismatic. I mean, I guess that's pretty good. It does mean Grolsk has grown, which is also a good thing. Because I need you to have another civilian industry. I wanted to fill you up with a bunch of research labs, and we will eventually, but for now I'm kind of needing the consumer goods. So let's get that. We're also going to go ahead and build a city district first, actually. And thank you, game. Now I have a crossbreed species that I'm going to have to deal with. Interestingly, it made them a subspecies of the Ven Graal rather than a subspecies of human. I'm not 100% sure as to what the reasoning behind that is. Because they ended up with our preference, one of our negative traits, and one of our positive traits. But I'm not sure how the game decided to make them a subspecies of the Ven Graal. But that's okay, they're not terrible. I would not complain about fleet logistics. Decreases upkeep costs, which is costing us how much? 52. We'll just round to 53 because it's almost there. Energy credits and 10.34 alloys. It's not a whole lot, but it's something. Also, we're sitting at our cap for influence. What can I spend this on? Honestly, nothing. I mean, I guess I could claim some systems. That's probably my best bet. Because, yeah, there's really nothing else to spend it on. Let's, I'll claim the rest of those systems. Also, since they have clearly taken over that system, there's no reason for me to mark it as a restricted area. Jesus, everybody's doing frickin' lunar sales. You are going to need some more jobs. Okay, let's upgrade Earth. Because once you get this robot, you will have a free building slot. So you won't need me. Now, let's see how the Consensus does in their war against the Syndicate. They might do better than me because, you know, I actually did some damage to their fleet. And they went and declared war shortly after my war with the Syndicate ended. But I don't expect them to do a whole hell of a lot better than I did. But it's possible. They might somehow surprise me. The Syndicate is sending a transport fleet somewhere over here, which leads me to believe that they must have a fleet currently in Mug. Otherwise, it's just stupid AI, because they're following a fleet, and they're heading in this direction. Which means the fleet they're following is somewhere over here. And yes, looks like it probably was in Mug, since that has now reverted back to being under the control of the Syndicate. This is also a fairly nice world. And it does have a metal boneyard, which is pretty good for helping in research as well. But honestly, I'm still inclined to go ahead and take this one. One, because it's a lot closer. What would this... It does not fit into any sector. Because all sectors are now at maximum 2 jumps away from the sector capital. It is honestly in a terrible position because it's going to result in a tiny sector. The only way this planet would work well in a sector is if I first take over the Tashore system from the Syndicate. Because taking these 2 planets, specifically Tashore first, would result in This... would it? No, it wouldn't. Never mind. It's going to be a shit sector no matter what. It is physically impossible to make this a decent sector, because they selected the number 2 as their option for sector formations. Honestly, I'm not too big a fan of the automated sector creation. Mostly because when you go to war, and specifically when you fight 2 wars against somebody, like say next time I fight the Syndicate, I take to shore, but I don't manage to take the Ikenash system. Once I go to war with them the second time and I take Ikenash, I'm going to end up with 2 sectors. Is at least the way it's worked in my experience. That is stupid, in my opinion. Well, at least if you use Total War Cost Aspelia as well, it can happen. Again, it's just a terrible system in my opinion. I would much prefer, personally, to just have to rely on creating sectors myself. It just works better, and the sectors look nicer. In this case, I'm forced to have a sector that is, for all intents and purposes, pretty much crap. Because sectors can only be 2 jumps away in size from the capital. I believe there are some mods that modify that, but I'd rather not use them on an ongoing save. But let's go ahead and colonize this other world. We shall call it Srensk Shore. Yes, game. I'm working on the whole slight overpopulation problem on Geraltsk. It's almost dealt with. However, creating this this new colony will result in me having to get a new governor, and I do actually have a second person that requested a governor.
Construction finalized.
Let's see. Though I will admit that I'm not sure if I will be able to fulfill that right this second. We shall see. Let's go ahead and upgrade the planetary administration to a planetary capital. It'll get some more jobs anyway. We are gonna have to go and buy more of these. Let's... Oop, I did not mean to control click. I definitely don't want to shift click either. Let's up it to 12. You know what, no. We'll go to 14. Slightly over. We're not making nearly as much food as I would like. This world, yes, it's also going to get a food processing facility. That'll help with the food. Because right now, our farmers are producing 8.4. This will give them an extra 15% along with another farming job. And the Unity has managed to occupy a system from the Consensus. So, yeah, the Consensus, they may not lose the war, but they're probably going to basically have the same thing that happened to us. A Pyrrhic victory, if anything. But the game could surprise us, so Let's try not to get ahead of ourselves here. Things could end up going very differently. When does our truce end? Because I kind of want you guys to get the hell out of my borders. God, you have such crap stuff and you still manage to put up a fight. You do have destroyers though, but I now have cruisers. So next time we go to war, I'll be running around with cruisers. Maybe a nice handful, in fact. Well, assuming that I can get my economy pumping fast enough to actually produce them. Ah, yes, okay. The only thing left for the Orsk fleet after this other corvette is built is to get the cruisers, which are freaking expensive at 501 alloys each.
Construction complete.
Where the hell are you coming from? Oh, you're that cruiser. Yes, of course. Technically, the Orsk fleet will... It's actually well below its command limit. Even with that extra cruiser added in. We'll hold off, though,
Construction complete.
on assigning anything right this second. Well, I guess I could technically do it with the Zensk fleet, because it's not getting that extra cruiser. This, admittedly, is not necessarily the best strategy, but I tend to basically just have the numbers as I go. So... there we go, and I would kick you up to 4 if I had slightly more command limit. Technically though, because all cruisers cost the same amount, I can do this without any problems. I will hold off though on giving you an extra destroyer just until the merger actually occurs. There we go. I no longer need to be buying consumer goods. You have an unemployed, but they won't be unemployed for long. In fact, actually, you're about to have another person who's unemployed, but again, they won't be unemployed for long. This is going to give you guys an extra enforcer and an extra administrator. Ooh, okay, looks like consensus might have actually taken quite the beating. Though they have managed to re-secure the Kurus system. And I assume because of the way the AI works, they probably ran down here to Jundius rather than going straight up to attack Sidios. Because the AI in Stellaris, much like in EU, tends to favor retaking any of its territory that is currently occupied over pushing an offensive. Ooh, okay, so the reality is I don't get a whole lot of research from stations. It is very minimal compared to what I get from jobs. But this is a nice, quick, and easy thing to research. However, shields are more useful, especially for my play style, and chemical plants definitely has its uses, although honestly I don't really have a problem with volatile motes right now. I'm currently producing 4 and will be producing an additional 2 for a total of 6 in a couple of years. So chemical plant isn't really necessary for me. So we're going to go for shields. It still doesn't take too long. It's about 3 times as long. It'll take about 3 times as long to research this compared to the research output from stations, but again, stations don't give me much anyway. Additional 10% on basically nothing is effectively nothing. It might result in something being researched a month earlier, but again, it's not that big of a deal. Especially against the AI, which generally is shit. Let's be honest here at research. I wish that wasn't the case, I'll be completely honest with you, but it is. So there's really not much you can do about it. Also, actually change of plans. I just want you guys to get that extra cruiser out first. Okay, then you can look into this stuff. This actually don't take that long to build, only 160 days. I think battleships are about a year. By default, which is a pretty long ass time. Ooh, okay, it looks like the consensus may have not been strong enough to actually retake Jundius, because the Unity has gone back up and retaking Kurus without any real resistance, I imagine. Well, it probably doesn't help that they border a Marauder. And it would be a shame if somebody paid the Marauders a couple thousand energy credits to go and attack them while they're in the middle of a war. That'd be terrible. It doesn't benefit me to do that, so obviously I'm not going to, but somebody might. I certainly know that if I was in the middle of a fight with the consensus down here and I had 3,000 energy credits to throw around, I'd probably hire the Marauders to attack them. They'd fly up here to Ket Duda, and assuming that they decide to actually do their job properly, they would raid it, potentially dragging the consensus fleet over there to try and protect it. Starbase capacity isn't that big of a deal for me. Hyper entertainment forms, I'm not even using the normal tier 1 version right now. Commerce megaplexes though are useful. Additional clerk jobs and a merchant job, and that means more trade value, but that means I need rare crystals. I don't currently produce any, and I don't think the game lets me buy any because I don't have the tech. Oh no, I can. Okay, wonderful. I could technically buy them. They are expensive though, I imagine, right? Yes, at 13 each to buy. They are expensive compared to some of the other stuff you can buy. Well, I mean, they're about the price of an alloy. If I really find myself in need of energy credits, I can also sell off a bunch of dark matter. Nobody has a use for it. Except for me, because I'm pretty sure... Oh no. Yeah, no, literally nobody has a use for dark matter right now, except for fallen empires, and well, we're not even 100 years into the game yet, so it's a long ways out. Before anybody even thinks of using dark matter. So again, I could sell it. You can only use dark matter tech if you have fallen empire tech. Yeah, fallen empire tech. Which you only get if you go to war with them and manage to salvage one of their ships. Let's see, what else can you do? Honestly, not much. I mean, technically I could give you another alloys foundry, though I'll be honest, I'd rather just get upgraded alloy foundries, which, again, the game has kind of screwed us over on by not giving us that as an option.
Scientific progress attained.
Wonderful, railguns. And again, the game doesn't give us the option, but we can go ahead and get some more hit points for our corvettes or city district housing. I believe that's just an additional one housing per city district. It's not a you can build an extra city district. And I mean, for Earth, housing will be a problem eventually, but we've still got 7 housing. That's a decent ways out. Let's go for Corvette hull points. It's not a whole lot. It's an extra 100. Yeah. It's not a whole lot, but you know what? It's something, at least. And again, we are maxed out on influence. We produce far too much influence. It's not possible for us to actually spend it fast enough. Because the only thing is I can really spend it on, well, I could spend on research grants. I didn't realize that expired game. Maybe I should actually look at this before I go ahead and spend all that influence on claims. So we have some upgrades to apply.
Ships upgraded.
Somehow you guys, technically speaking, lost fleet power, but okay, we have met somebody. Ruthless capitalists. Down here. Well, the way forward lies in our hands. And apparently they have some strategic resource that warranted talking to me, which I'm assuming is volatile motes. Or maybe it's rare crystals, I don't know. Either ways, we're not going to get along well with these guys. Partly because they're already fanatic xenophobes anyway, so that definitely doesn't help. But even just from a roleplay perspective, we wouldn't get along well with them. How long is that going to take? That will not be done until 2295. December of 2295. So about a year before our truce with the Syndicate expires, and maybe we go to war with the Syndicate again, but you know, this time successfully. Also, they apparently are having a pirate problem. I assume because their fleet is nowhere near their borders, where I don't know where it is. I know it was going through my space at one point, but I don't know where it is now. The Unity is proceeding to go ahead and take more stuff, well, at least occupy it. Though it's nothing of real consequence, it's just a couple of stations. They're not even really important stations from the looks of it. Let's see. You guys upgraded, but I don't think it really changed your military power much, if at all. Let's go ahead and spend our alloys to get some more corvettes, because of course the game's going to build from the bottom up. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Not a big fan of building bottom up when it comes to fleets. You have gotten association status with the only people I think that actually have a federation that exists over here. I don't know why. Because, I mean, you're far away, really, let's be honest here. You don't have any common enemies or threats. The closest is the consensus, and don't you have a non-aggression pact or something with them? A defensive pact, in fact. And we have a new faction, the Alien Suffrage faction, which is one of the Xenophile faction. Well, excuse me, is the Xenophile faction. Pretty sure there's only one of those. Maybe there's two, I don't recall. I know some ethos have two. Xenophobes, I believe, have two. These guys will be generally pissed off at us no matter what, except for multicultural society. They will generally be happy with us about that. Enclaves Incorporated is also another one that they'll eventually be happy with us about, but they'll generally hang out at about 50%, maybe. I guess I could legislate passive studies. I don't generally do I don't generally invade primitives, and I don't generally do active studies either. So sure, we can do that. Make you guys a little bit happier. Boom. Booms up to 45. Now you'll probably hang out at about 65. Once I have at least 4 unique species and an enclave within my borders. Which won't be a problem. I will not, however, outlaw purges. Although admittedly I don't do it. Because our only purge option is displacement. I'm going to go and kick the game to fast. And we continue to build up our fleet. The Syndicate is still considered equivalent. I did not actually want to upgrade you guys. I've entirely forgotten about the second fleet. I've been meaning to upgrade them. Wonderful. Now I can go ahead and get wormhole travel. We don't have any wormholes anywhere near us. Where is the nearest wormhole, in fact? The nearest wormhole to us is all the way over here in the Japanese dwarves territory. And there are a number of gateways over down in the consensus's territory. So this doesn't matter too much. Shield capacitors, though, yes please. And luckily they don't have an upkeep cost, so I can afford to use them. Yeah, I'm going to take the shield capacitors because I don't really need wormhole travel right now, game. I mean, I could do it and I'd be able to just research this and go to the other side. Ooh.
Construction finalized.
Who declared their independence? Ah. These guys that are not on great terms with the Japanese dwarves have proceeded to declare the independence of the Vraxonite consensus. Which is interesting. Because why? Also, how are you involved in this war, in fact? Because you declared a guarantee of their independence while the war has been going on. How are you dragged in, exactly? I'm not seeing a defensive pact here, so that's not the case. Oh, it's an offensive war. You were probably invited in. I don't know why. because you can't really attack either party. You have to go through Marauder territory for you to get to the Unity here. But whatever. The AI decided technically our borders touch. So we're going to go ahead and declare war on you. Or support our ally in a war against you. Okay, so mining stations output increased by an additional 10% is useful because we do get quite a few energy credits and minerals from stations. However, I would much prefer to get the rare crystals ability so that we can actually harvest some of these rare crystals within our borders, and by some I mean we got quite a few. We've got 4 here, additional 4 up here for a total of 8. Yeah, that's a decent amount. I'd like to have it. We do have an unemployed pop here. Let's build a food processing facility that'll help to deal with that issue. New contact. More ruthless capitalists. Will not be held back. Where are you guys? And quick question, are you guys... You are a criminal syndicate, so that's going to be annoying because it means you can go ahead and build your shit here. Oh, you're also a criminal syndicate. I didn't realize you were a criminal syndicate as well. But in theory, they could choose to go ahead and build their branch offices in my territory just because. That's not something I'm really looking forward to, if I'm going to be honest with you. I hate dealing with criminal syndicates. Okay, now, when this robot gets built, we will not have any more farmer jobs for them to fill in, at least not right now. Once the food processing facility gets built, there will be another farmer. So I'm gonna wanna actually shut off the roboticist more than likely, or well, I guess technically I can sell them into slavery. Yes, that is technically an option. I could sell excess robots into slavery for some energy credits. Yes, I will extend the deal with you. Okay, we will have people wanting jobs in just a moment. So what do I want to build here? I'll be honest, I don't really know. I do need more civilian industry and more alloys.
Construction finalized.
But the question is, do I want to go and build more of those on Earth right now? And to be honest, I'd rather not. Though I think I'm shit out of luck there, I'm gonna have to anyway. How expensive are consumer goods? They're currently 4, so preferably I would actually go for an additional alloys foundry. For the simple fact that those are much more expensive to buy. So if I'm forced to buy either of them, I would much prefer to buy consumer goods, because they're about 1/3 the cost. Okay, and we have another unemployed person here because a robot took the job again. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the same person that became unemployed as a result of the robot taking the job. There's nothing else I can really build here outside of a research lab, but then I have to start buying exotic gases. Although I guess I could build a mining district or a generator. I do need more mines, or minerals, rather. But this planet isn't that great with that. So, yeah, you know, we'll build a generator district because it's slightly better. Continue to fill up the second fleet because I kind of want to actually have two fleets that are relatively capable of fighting. The AI really should set this system as a restricted system, because they're just going to keep losing those transport ships if they keep sending them through there. That's probably not the first time one's ran through that system, or at least tried to. It's definitely the first one I've seen, but like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not the first to actually do that. It's probably tried it multiple times in the past, but the AI, being as stupid as it is sometimes, fails to realize that that plan isn't going to work. How's your war? Yeah, your war really isn't going so hot. You declared war on the Syndicate thinking, the player has just finished their war against them. They're weak, we can win! And now you're losing in much the same fashion that I was. Let's see, is anybody good here? You clear blockers, which, okay. Planet build speed has its uses. I'm somewhat inclined to say let's go for that. Is retired fleet officer actually useful? I want to say no, that's a pretty much worthless trait. I mean, I guess if you have a sector that is basically your shipyard sector, maybe it's useful. But in the grand scheme of things, I imagine it really doesn't do much for you. So, and right, just I don't really need to worry about. We're going to go for the architectural interest, for the build cost decreases and the build speed increases. On a fresh colony, those have their uses. Admittedly, I do also have a lot of planetary features to clear out as well. So, the other person that helps with clearing blockers might have also been useful. And this planet will become a mining district. Or a mining planet, excuse me. We're only losing 2 right now, so we'll hold off on proceeding to buy more. Just in hopes that prices continue to go down, although they seem to have shot up a little bit for a while, but they are again declining. The game again is saying, hey, how about those chemical plants? I don't need them. I have more than enough volatile motes for my current uses, so don't really need that. X-ray lasers, however, has me interested. Colony development speed tends to be one of those modifiers that tends to come too late. That's sort of the reality of the situation. I have better choices, something that'll help me far into the future, relatively speaking, compared to this. I won't be colonizing planets within the next 50 years, more than likely. I'll mostly be taking planets via conquest, so what do I care about development speed? It's not helping me. So we're going to go for X-ray lasers. It's going to be much more useful in the long run. And we shall continue to pump alloys into the second fleet to at least get them to be somewhat larger, since they are currently a little on the small size.
Our research has progressed.
Wonderful. Now, administrative cap is kind of nice, but our tech cost isn't actually that much. And leader upkeep isn't a real problem. Nor is the initial cost to purchase them a real problem. Campaigns, I assume it's referring to edicts there. Yeah. They're not that expensive, and we tend to be bumping into the cap fairly often. Extra naval capacity is a whole hell of a lot more useful between those choices. Also, I completely forgot about the fact that we kind of sort of researched new shields, and we just kind of forgot to equip them onto our ships. So let's go ahead and do that.
Construction finalized.
And now I have to do upgrades. And those are fucking expensive ass upgrades. Because I lack the rare crystals, I can't upgrade our megaplexes. However, that will no longer be a problem. Now, I do need minerals. Our mineral production is starting to get a little bit low. It's down to 38. And it is still a fairly important resource since it's used for the buildings of buildings on planets. The city district housing, we're still okay there. Plasma thrusters, I like it, but we'll spend the 12 months rather, apparently, to get some extra minerals from our miners. More ruthless capitalists, but these guys are mega corporations, so they cannot build a branch office unless we give them the A-OK. Where the hell are they? Oh, here they are. Okay. I don't know how it took so long to meet you guys, because you're right next to somebody else that I've known about for like the last decade, maybe even 2 decades. Oh, and of course now I need to send my construction ships out to build. Actually, no, that's probably not the best. Honestly, there's really no good route for me to tell you to do this in, so just do it like that. That's fine with me. New contacts. Moral Democracy Federation builders, and they are fairly sizable, but we will not be held back. Capacity overload ended. Now, I don't really care for the fleet command limit right now. We got 60, that's fine with us. The reality is we can't hit that just due to naval cap, really. An admiral level cap, our admirals don't live long enough to really hit an additional 2 level cap. So I think we're going to go for overwhelming force for the additional ship fire rate. Of course, should note, 10% is not a whole lot. These will maybe go up 100 points. Probably not, though. See, that is at 3,576 right now. It might take a month for the game to refresh that, or hell, maybe it doesn't even use fire rate to tell you the military power here. Either way, it really isn't a whole lot. Yeah, that doesn't update, so I don't think the game actually takes into account ship fire rate here. So yeah, like I said, it really isn't a whole lot. Bunch of people closing their borders to me. Although in the case of these guys, it's because the truce finally ended. Ooh, and I might be able to fight you guys now if I actually had 2 half-decent fleets. You guys are listed as pathetic, so I might actually be able to beat you with even a 1.3k fleet. You guys want me to give you stuff? Well, the only thing I'm willing to give you, because I have tons of it and nothing to spend it on, is food. Leave me alone. I want to go ahead and continue saving up to get the first fleet, to have the latest and greatest equipment. And this fallen empire has proceeded to open their borders to us yet again. I don't know why. I assume because I refused their request, they have now sort of evened out, although they have now proceeded to close the borders again. They apparently can't make up their mind. Yeah, this war really isn't going in the favor of the Araxanite consensus. They really thought, because I went to war with the Syndicate and managed a Pyrrhic victory, that they would be okay to go in now and try and take some stuff. I'm really curious as to what happened to their fleet.
Scientific progress attained.
We'll see what ends up getting taken. I'm inclined to go over the Star Fortress because it has its uses for future techs. Beyond that, though, I don't really actually care for it. I mean, we can't even really afford to go up to a Starhold more often than not. Well, I say that's not technically true. We could do it. We just have other problems if we try to. Let's go ahead and build another generator district here. And eventually, Geraltsk will be filled to the brim with research labs, but that's gonna have to wait. And we have an unemployed person. I think it's a robot, right? No, it is not actually a robot. It is an actual person. It's a half-human. And because it's a half-human, I can't do anything with them because they're not considered a slave, so I can't sell them on the market for a little bit of energy credits. I mean, it's not a whole lot anyway. I'm probably looking at maybe 1,000. I actually don't have a way of checking since I can't sell them anyway. The game doesn't even let me see what their price would be. It only lists people that are valid, and yeah, robots are 500. Robots aren't worth it. I could buy some of these people. Where are you wanting to live that you have? Well, it's probably because you're starborn. That's the reason why. But even then, starborn doesn't give you 100% habitability on any of my planets. I don't know what the deal is there. Yeah, we're going to be producing a lot of rare crystals, though. Just because of the bonuses. Because that's 1.2. This is a... Okay, there's 2 here, so that's additional 1.2, and then a 1.2 over here for 2.4 total. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of rare crystals, and nothing for us to spend it on. Also, First Fleet can now finally get upgraded to have the latest and greatest equipment. Wonderful. second fleet can actually also afford to be tossed in the queue, so wonderful. And somebody just opened borders to me. I don't know who. And rivalry with the consensus has been invalidated. Was it you? It was you. Ooh, okay. Lots of stuff popping up. Let's see. The consensus has decided, hey, I know we were rivals before, but can we be best of friends now? No, we cannot be best of friends. For one simple reason. We could have been if you hadn't declared me as a rival, because then we could have gone to war with the Syndicate together, and probably won quite handedly. But you decided to declare me as a rival years before that, so screw you. You guys are friends with them, so I'm not really interested in being best of friends with you. We can have non-aggression pact because it keeps you off my ass. But beyond that, we are not going to be friends, so no.
Transmission incoming. Discourse anticipated.
Now you want a research agreement? No. And the consensus has proceeded to open their borders to me, saying, pretty please, can we be friends now? Look at us, we're being nice, we're letting you fly into our territory. No, we're still not going to be friends. I'm still going to keep my borders closed to you. Actually, I can rival you again. Wonderful. For that sweet, sweet influence that I cannot spend fast enough. You guys, what I want you to do, let's see. So you already have a food processing plant. I can't do anything else there. I could give you a research lab, because, you know, why not? It's extra research. Screw it, we'll do it. And over here on Earth, we shall upgrade our commercial zone to a commerce megaplex for the additional jobs. Because besides, we're going to need it anyway. Earth is continuing to build more robots that I have nothing to do with.
Together we will build a brighter
Eventually we'll get droids. Something quick and easy to research. Technically Cloud Lightning is a little bit faster than Barrier Point Defense. Actually no, Barrier Point Defense might actually still end up being faster because your specialist is computing, but you also have the Spark of Genius for an additional 10%. Put the two together, and yeah, you're probably going to research Barrier Point Defense slightly faster than you would Cloud Lightning. And I don't really need the better reactors, right? Actually, our Corvettes are getting a little bit low. I don't even think they can actually afford to... They can just barely afford to slap X-ray lasers on. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and go for the antimatter reactor, actually. Also, I know my chip designs aren't the greatest. I generally don't actually put too much effort into them for a couple of reasons. One of which is that the AI generally doesn't put up much resistance, if any, so why the hell do I care? You guys have declared me as a rival. Was that really in your best interest? You're still receptive towards me because... Oh no, you didn't. Somebody declared me as a rival, didn't they? Or did I just not read that right? No, I'm clearly just not reading that right. Maybe they ended it.
construction complete.
Either way, I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. So Something you shouldn't do, of course, is not pay attention. See, we are currently producing 6 rare crystals a month. And we still have an additional 3.6 or so over here. More upgrades for the primary fleet. And we are back at the cap. Also, I forgot to re-enable capacity overload after it expired previously. Oh, it was the Endearing Unity I actually declared as a rival, not the consensus. Never mind. By the way, I now have a free spare slot for a rivalry. Technically, I don't have to border them. Yeah, because they changed it, so it's... You don't have to border them. It's still called neighborhood rivals when it comes to rivaling at least 2 empires, but they don't have to actually be your neighbors anymore. We'll declare you as a rival, because I need one. And that makes these guys even happier, because it makes me a galactic nemesis. Well, at least in theory. Those guys want a... They want a migration treaty. I don't care to get a migration treaty with them. And wow, we are losing a lot of... Now we're actually starting to lose lots of consumer goods. Yes, and now I have an extra pop on Earth that I need to sell. I do wish the game would sort by unemployed at the top, but maybe that's just me. We've now put a robot up on the open market for somebody to buy, and somebody will inevitably do it. And these guys have decided to now allow people to hire mercenaries. They are kind of expensive, I'll be honest, but it is something, and I could use them. I get them for 5 years. That's probably enough to go to war with the Syndicate again, especially with the backing of a Marauder fleet. And luckily it is a lump sum upfront cost. I'd actually have to do them. So it's 5 years. So I'm curious about this. So it's 5 years, so 60 months. I currently make 152 energy credits a month. So assuming my energy credit income stays the same at a minimum for the 5 years, I would still technically make a slight profit of about 152 energy credits. Even buying their most expensive one for 9,000. I'm not actually making a profit. I'm technically just breaking even on my own income, along with a little bit extra in this case. But I'm not technically making a profit on buying the mercenaries. But either way, it's an option. And that is more fleet power, which does mean it can end the war a lot faster, which means we get to go ahead and get to the fun job of rebuilding the crappy planetary designs of the AI. Because the AI doesn't really inspire much confidence most of the time. It's gotten better. Definitely, that's true. Because it used to just fill these things with luxury residences and precinct houses. It doesn't do that as much anymore. But still, it's not as great as it could be. I'll be honest. So yeah, next time we go to war, which I don't think will be this stream. In fact, I'm actually probably going to be ending this stream a little bit early. Heads up that there may not be an actual stream this upcoming weekend, just as a result of the same reason why there wasn't a stream this last weekend or the weekend before. I'd probably be busy with homework for a college course of mine, so I won't exactly have the time to stream. But we'll see. Yeah, I think we're going to go right ahead and end this part once we have set both of these fleets to upgrade, or maybe we'll hold off until they're both upgraded. So this won't be the full 2 hours like I normally do. It has ended, and the Rexonite Empire will be created as an ally or subject of the Syndicate out of 12 occupied systems of theirs. So, we now have the Rexonite Syndicate as a subsidiary to the... I'm not even going to try to pronounce that syndicate. Now, if I'm correct... Okay, you guys do still join wars against the person you are a subsidiary of. Now, these are some crap borders. Let's be real here. It would have required effort, though, to take both of these, I imagine. But either way, those are some crap borders. So we're going to have the fun job of dealing with this. It is yet another criminal syndicate. That means there are now 4 on the map. And any one of them could decide, hey, we're going to go ahead and build a branch office on Earth. Because screw you, that's why. Again, I hate dealing with the criminal syndicates because I just hate dealing with the branch offices of theirs. Because, in my opinion, the game doesn't do a great job of indicating to me when they decide it's not worth keeping the branch office open. In the case of criminal syndicates, presumably it would have to do with crime. If crime's low enough, they don't do it. Great. But if they end up building it and then I deal with the crime problem, it doesn't really tell me when they decide it's no longer profitable and they proceed to enter that wait 1 year to see how things play out. Like it's supposed to be now. I don't know what it was originally then. If they now wait a year, what? Did they previously check every day or something? Because that'd be a little stupid for one. But yeah, so that'll be it for this stream. Like I said, I'm ending a little bit early. Hopefully I will be able to stream this weekend. We'll probably be going to war with the Syndicate whenever it is that I next stream this. And... well, let's hold off, let the fleets upgrade first, and then I'll end it. But nonetheless, like I said, we'll probably be going to war with the Syndicate next time. They are weakened, both them and their ally. Why would I want a defensive pact with you? If you had offered me this previously, before you declared me as a rival, a number of parts ago, I would have been ecstatic to accept. But you decided to declare me as a rival, so I don't give a shit about you anymore, especially now that you've lost a war. If I really wanted to, I could easily just go into your systems and mop up. Which, I'll be honest, isn't a terrible idea, except for the fact that, well, I'd only be able to take over a couple of systems that don't have anything of real worth. I'd get a couple of extra rare crystals and a little bit of alloys mined in space, but that's about it. Yeah, it's really nothing to write home about. It also gets me very close to a militant isolationist, and I'd rather not be near them if I can avoid it. I mean, sure, as long as I don't actually border them, it's okay, but still, I don't want to be close to them. And the Democratic Sartalin Commonwealth has decided, you know what, you guys suck at this, we're not going to declare we're not going to guarantee your independence anymore.
Ships upgraded.
If you die, you die, and oh well. That is now what they have decided. I never generally do guarantee a nation's independence in Stellaris.
Ships upgraded.
It's not normally worth it, in my opinion. We are yet again have an unemployed robot. I guess. Do we sell the other one yet? No, so. Okay. I see the problem. Until it gets sold, the pop still exists. Slightly annoying, I'll be honest. But we can live with that. I thought I had some of those Raktan guys, but we don't actually. I could buy one. And it would get me an actual psionic. You know what? We're going to go ahead. We're going to buy one of these racket guys so that they can spread within our empire. Mostly because I kind of like having them do the psionic. Especially since we are technically having psychic theory. Because we got it through an event, despite being materialist. Yeah, that's fun. We're gonna go ahead and buy you, because technically your habitability is higher than this other one. I don't know what the difference is between you. Your stats are exactly the same. But somehow you are slightly better than the other ones. Or technically, actually, this one's just slightly worse than everybody else. I only really need one of them. And then they can start to grow.
Transmission incoming. Discourse anticipated.
You're not getting a research agreement either. If I didn't give you a defensive pact, what the hell makes you think I would give you a research agreement? Oh, so where is this guy? What is he working at? Oh, he's working as a technician. Why? Your job would be better served actually working at the clerks. But I'm assuming it's a case of the code doesn't quite match up properly. His trait is thrifty. Thrifty used to be a bonus to energy credit production. That has since changed. It is now a bonus to trade value production. But the code, I guess, is still set up to have them prioritize sitting as a technician, not as a clerk. Just a guess. You'd actually have to look at it to know for certain, but I'm probably right. I'll be honest with you on that. I am probably right. So the code says, oh, they got thrifty. Okay, they should work as a technician. No, they shouldn't. For the actual bonus to take effect, they should work as a clerk. But either way, we've upgraded the fleets. We're still sort of being too lazy to go and buy consumer goods because we have a decent stockpile, and once we take over a world or two, it'll help sort of even out. But yeah, so that'll be it for this stream. Like I said, it's a little bit on the shorter side. See you all in the next one. Quick reminder, the channel is not a part of the YouTube Partner Program, so if you enjoy the content on the channel, easiest and best way to help support the channel is to go and become a patron. You can find a link to that down in the description. When I stream, you can also do Streamlabs donations if you feel so inclined, but the easiest and best way is to become a patron. Also, link in the description to my Discord if you want to be able to be kept up to date on channel happenings. That's where I go to post them. I generally don't bother posting them elsewhere just because I can't be bothered to post on half a dozen different websites for the same thing with varying character limits for some of them. But nonetheless, like I said, I'll see you all in the next one. I should go ahead and save before I forget, because I would forget. But yes, so I'll see you all in the next part, but until then, a goodbye and a farewell.